Hi, this is Gerald, also known as Joe Remax, coming to you from my home here in Bangkok, Thailand. Today, it's a holiday in Thailand, so I thought I would share some thoughts about the market, about where things are going for people who are interested in this market. So we'll talk about some market trends, we'll talk about specifically sales and specifically Bangkok. I'll talk to you about some observations I have. By no means are these scientific, they're anecdotal, take them for what they're worth, but this is what I see as someone in the business. We'll talk about how I analyze what I see, right or wrong. I'll share my thoughts on that, and maybe some predictions. I'll look into magic crystal ball, make some predictions and some recommendations. So let's take a look at kind of a little bit of history, a snapshot back. In 2020, we had the advent of the pandemic, and that was a shock to everyone. And I think a lot of people, almost like a deer in the headlights, they froze. They didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what the pandemic was. We didn't know the effect on economies. And most people took a pretty conservative approach. What I saw is a lot of real estate transactions. These are big transactions. These are a lot of money, and people were not comfortable to put that much money down in a situation where they don't know they're going to need that liquidity later to make it through the pandemic, that kind of thing. So I saw a number of transactions go down in 2020 pretty well to a trickle, let's say that way. Compared to like 2018, 2019, it was a hopping market. So the brakes went on, and I think that's not bad that the brakes went on in 2020 in many ways. It's a good thing, because the market was very speculative prior to that. Now, as we roll into 2021, I see a bit of a increase in volume, actually a flurry of increase in volume, and I'm trying to understand that. Where are these people coming from? So let's take a look at it. We'll talk about that in my analysis bit. But a flurry of transactions last month. I probably did more than all of last year. And you got to say there's something going on, right? So last year the prices took a tumble, and I think what's happening now is people with, even though we're at the third wave in Thailand, it's the worst waves ever. The feeling is we know a lot more about this COVID thing. We can wrap our arms around it. We know what to expect. We know there's a vaccine on the way. I think there's renewed optimism, global recovery. So I think people are kind of loosening up their purse strings on one side, but another side is that the investors are starting to move on purchases. And this is mostly because I believe the prices have gone as low as they're going to go. Not all prices. So, every market is segmented. There are people who don't owe any money to banks, or they're comfortable, they don't need the money, they're just weathering the storm. A lot of units like that. So contrary to that, there are people who have units, have been out of work for a year. They need that money, they need to reinvest, or they need it to live. So there are units that are discounted 20 to 30% below pre-COVID prices. I think these are great deals. Finding them is not easy, but they are there. So that's what I've seen moving in the market. I haven't seen premium prime prices moving. I see prime properties discounted moving. The whole sentiment I see right now is that the prices are bottoming out, and people in the know are scooping up deals. If it's time to pull out my crystal ball and make some predictions, my prediction, prices are not going to go down further. My prediction, transactions are going to pick up, continue. I believe there'll be a blip and a fall. The blip being people who are buying discounted properties available on the market today. They're going to scoop these up. It will fall because these will be used up, and then there'll be a continuation with market value pre-COVID prices starting to pick up. I had a client send me an email, and it just stated that their strategy would be to wait until they see a return of economy and return of potential clients to the market and then buy. My feeling on that is that the return to market should be within the next year or so, next 12 months. So let's pick 12 months. Let's say you bought something and you rent it out for $1,000 a month. So at the end of the year, you have $12,000. And that's what he's hoping for. He doesn't want to jump in and leave it empty, which seems to be a loss. But my feeling is if you can get one of these deals, you're going to save substantially more than that on a property that generates that much money. So you might get it at $20,000, $30,000 below pre-COVID or recovery prices. It can sit there empty for 2 years and you're still winning. So my advice now, and I've done it, I've bought at least one rental property last year, beginning of this year. It's sitting empty, but I'm okay with that because the equity, the instant equity I got when I bought that property, it can sit empty for 2-3 years and I'm not behind. If you're an investor and you're looking at your rent, my advice is take the equity chunk, and eventually your equity is going to come up, right? And you're going to be able to rent out and you will get your ROI on a rental yield. But your rental yield ROI will be much higher because your initial investment is lower. So I like that strategy. Personally, that's what I'm taking. If you're private, I think the kind of the fire sale, the urgent sales are going to dry up eventually, and a lot to investors because that's what they do. They look for these kind of things and they buy them when they're available. So if you're a private investor and you want to get something discounted, a private person, either for your own use or to live in, my feeling is now is a good time. Will it go down further? I have a hard time to envision it going down any further. So my crystal ball, who knows how accurate it is. It's just what I see. I hope this is useful for you guys. I hope you give me a like and a thumbs up, and why not subscribe? This is Joe Remax signing off from Bangkok, Thailand, in my beautiful home. Let me show you the view of my balcony before we go. So you see behind me is a reflection of the view. So this is my view of my balcony. I love it. It's a huge city, Bangkok. We're in Sukhumvit area right now. This is our balcony. We built a bar on it. So we get to sit out here and have our tea or our beverage of choice in the evening. It's beautiful, not too hot. Thank you for joining me. And I hope to talk to some of you guys who are interested in investing and guide you through the maze that is the investing in a foreign country.